Hello everybody and welcome back to the Kingdom Hearts 3 playthrough. It is time for the delightful extras, and yes, we are fully into the wonderful realm of the gummy ship. So for the next bit of time, i.e. the next 4 parts actually, we are going to be exploring all of the galaxies and everything that inhabits them. So, yes, today we are exploring the Starlight Way. Next time we'll be exploring the Misty Stream, then we'll be exploring the Eclipse, and then we've also got a few extra little bits and bobs. So the key thing that we will be doing for these is we are going to find every single constellation. We are going to take on every single gummy ship mission, and just generally we are going to have a whale of a time in the land of the gummy ship. Now I will say, you do not sort of get through this whole shebang quickly. Like, I think that I went at a pretty fair pace, and it still definitely took me a good sort of 4.5 hours, I think. Yeah, 4 hours and 43 minutes worth of my time completing this. Because there is a surprising amount of content here. I do think that they perhaps could have made it a little bit easier to sort of complete everything. I don't know whether the patch has helped with this at all, whether it's something that they'll look at updating as they sort of go along. But basically, the way that it works, I have obviously explained this previously, is that when you sort of go up against the Heartless gummy ships on the field, you get thrown into a mission. And even though you have the challenge level of the mission, there's generally multiple missions at the same challenge level, and there's no guarantee of what you're going to come up against. And even if you destroy the Heartless, unless it's like a massive boss Heartless, the smaller fry will generally respawn after you've been away from them for a bit, which can be a little bit concerning, particularly for me when I'm just like, I'm not leaving this area until I have finished it, but then also I can't just sort of loop around and make sure that I've murdered everything. I've got to actually check my tally to see, okay, so I've done all of these missions, so I'm looking for a 1-star. I've just got to keep tackling the 1-stars until that is it. So it's a little bit frustrating, and I think that it is probably the one bit which is perhaps the least fun to go for 100% completion in, because it is so easy to miss things. You do have to go back and forward and upside down and all around to try and actually find these things. And I mean, the constellations too, they're not the easiest things to spot. I think also because there's no way of putting a marker on the actual map, it's a bit of a pain. Because, like, while you can obviously highlight worlds and waypoints that you want to go to, you can't actually do it for anything of importance. Like, I'm following a map, I know this is where this constellation is, but I can't mark it on my map. It's a bit annoying. But yeah, also, there are a surprising amount of gummy boss fights in this game. Like, honestly, I was surprised at how many there were, because you've got the Flower Guardian here. Obviously, there were the 3 that we had to face in each world in order to progress We had the big robot fighter thing, we had the Dread Shark, and we had the massive Omega ship thing. And you might think, oh yes, that's it. No, there are a whole shed load. Multiple ones in each galaxy, actually. And we will be taking them all down, and it will be delightful. The other thing is that, so I was aiming to get every single blueprint, so we've got to go after all the purple crystals, but also wanting to get all of the blueprints means that I've got to get an A rank on every single one of these missions. Actually, for the most part, it's pretty easy to do that as long as you have the right gummy ship to hand. And I mean, until you have gotten some of the constellations, if in your sort of journeys through you've managed to get a few of these special gummy ships, they can be really helpful. I mean, I can't exactly remember what this one is called. It's like the castle or something, because I thought it was the Highwind, but it is definitely not that. And I was trying to find it. But there annoyingly doesn't seem to be an actual proper guide anywhere for the full list of all of the bloomin' blueprints. It's really annoying. But yeah, basically you get a special gummy ship for getting a constellation, you get a special gummy ship for finding all of the purple crystals, and you get special gummy ships for getting an A rank on the gummy missions. So actually there's a lot of options out here for you to progress and to get much more powerful, while you can go and gummy it up yourself. So you can make your own gummy ship. I would definitely recommend going with these pre-built ones because they're pretty gosh darn good. I mean, I found that I did really like this one. There are definitely better ones out there, but this thing is quite powerful. It is also quite quick, certainly feels quite nippy. It's not got the best turning, I will definitely admit that. So I did ram into a lot of things. There are better ones than this. I mean, I think one of the constellations in the Starlight way is the bomb. I'm just gonna... Yes. So one of them is the bomb. The bomb is a really good gummy ship. As is the Moogle, but I found the bomb much more useful for me. When you get to the Misty Stream, there is one which you can get called the Endymion. Basically all of the constellations are based on Final Fantasy characters, which is awesome and I love it. But the Endymion is basically your second best gummy ship, outside of one that you can only get for beating the special boss. Because there is indeed an optional gummy ship boss battle, which is definitely a challenge. There's a few optional ones actually, but there's one which is classified as sort of like the mega special optional boss. The other one's sort of debatable on that mark. But yeah, I have to say, even though I did get maybe a wee bit fed up as I sort of progressed through this, I did have a really fun time. Like, I don't think that you really should aim for going through all of the gummy ship missions at once. Maybe just aim for doing them a bit at a time, because otherwise you'll probably end up with gummy ship fatigue. I know I certainly ended up close to that, because oh boy, when you're doing this for 4.75 hours straight, you do start to lose your marbles a little bit. But that said, it is a really good chance also to get your kind of totals of fluorite, Damascus, adamantite, etc. up, because you obviously get them from destroying asteroids in the galaxies in the gummy ship, which is definitely fun. It's definitely a nice easy way of doing it. So if you're going to do this sort of thing of doing them all at once, use that as an opportunity as well and destroy those asteroids for the love of God. But the key thing that you want to make sure that you go in with as powerful a ship as you can muster, because pretty much all of the missions, in order to get the good scores, you need to kill as many enemies as quickly as possible, because the multiplier that you have constantly ticks down. So no matter whether you're in one which is kill as many in a set time or kill a certain number, that multiplier ticks down constantly. And so you want to get those high scores before you actually end up reaching 0 times multiplier, because then your scores aren't going to matter. And that's just really, really, really painful to go through. I definitely know that I suffered with that one in a couple of times. You're not actually going to see well, I don't think you're going to see a failed mission from me in this, because I thought, well, I'm flying around like a lunatic. The least I can do is be aware of your time commitments for these things, in terms of not showing you failed stuff. Because otherwise we would be here for the full 4 hours and 43 minutes. And honestly, nobody needs to see that. Also, I think I did have a really bad run, and I think I just completely got rid of that as well. So I did spend quite a bit of time gummy shipping. So in my head, my brain's also going, oh god, how am I going to get through the sheer amount of gummy ship that I have to go through? But you know what? We will be fine. It will be delightful. We will have an absolute blast, and I'm going to be spending a lot of time turning around, looking and going, there's a constellation over there? Please say it's over there. Also, oh look, there's a crystal. Let's go for the crystal. Oh, it's not a purple crystal. God damn it. Because the purple crystals are the only ones that have the special blueprints in them. The blue crystals are basically sweet sod all. They give you some gummy parts, but since, you know, I don't actually use the custom creation tool for gummy ships. I mean, I did try it at one point, but it did not last, because didn't really do much for me. But anyway, I suppose that this is probably a good chance to point out that I am not the biggest fan of the mini-map. I mean, admittedly, there's only so much that you can do with a 2D map for something that is so 3D. Because you can be seemingly right on top of the crystal, the mission, or whatever, and yet you cannot see it at all. And it's terrifying. Also, we've done a decent job on some of these objectives in the gummy missions. Not anything huge, but it's okay. Also, we have 2 missions that we haven't faced down yet, and a couple that we only got B ranks on the first time round. So we've still got to do those, which will be fine. But yeah, it's the whole thing with the map is it's that whole thing of a map in 3D space. And obviously that is always a challenge to do, especially when, you know, it's space. But I think that a few small changes, like a better waypoint system, would definitely have been effective. Like, I mean, I suppose I'm thinking more Breath of the Wild here than anything, which I know is totally above and beyond what feasibly they perhaps would have been able to achieve with the Gummy Ship of Kingdom Hearts 3, because, you know, most of the effort will have gone on the actual game, and not what is effectively a side mode. But sort of being able to see the entire span of the galaxy and have those markers all dotted about, and then to be able to go, right, select there, I want to target towards that, please, and then you can have sort of the massive light going through that point, and then at least you know I am in the right location. I just need to maybe change my height, or, well, change how high or low I am, and that's sort of the way that you're going to sort of do well. And also, that was such a close A rank. That could have gone so badly, but it didn't. But yeah, it's just one of those things that, quality of life wise, would have made this a lot more bearable. I mean, not that it's not fun. I think this is one of the things which I always seem to get into when I'm doing a variety of things, that part of me goes, this thing annoys me, the other part of it goes, but I still really like it. So the fact that it's annoying me, I kind of want to forgive it for that, but then I know that I shouldn't necessarily forgive it for that, because it's still a thing that needed to be fixed, but then it's not horrendous. And I just end up falling over myself. Always have, I suppose I always will. At once too harsh and too kind. Can go in my whole slightly paradoxical nature of, you know, introverts who, well, extroverted introvert. Like, when I'm sort of by myself, or when I'm with sort of close friends, I am an absolute chatterbox, as, you know, proven by the fact that I have been going Bulletigate, talking about a bloody gummy ship for 18 minutes, and will undoubtedly continue to do so for the next 20 plus minutes. And yet, sort of, you put me in a bigger setting, and I sort of go, up, calm down, quiet down, no one needs to see me. Ah. So you've got that side. You've got the pessimistic optimist, or optimistic pessimist. I'm never quite sure exactly which one I am, but I'm certainly one of them. I like to see the best in people. I like to see the sort of positives in things, but equally I am very realistic and don't expect things to go the way that I would like them to, and generally expect things to go wrong. So yeah, I am a bit of a mess in terms of those sorts of things. And honestly, it's no surprise. I mean, I'm still doing video game playthroughs on the internet. Like, you would have thought that... Well, generally, anybody who's doing this sort of thing is at least a little bit weird. I mean, it's totally cool to be weird. I would never really want to be anything else. But, like, you have to have at least a few screws loose to just be like, yes! let me talk over video games on the internet. Because people will watch them. Watch me play a video game and talk about it. This is a thing that people will watch. And some people will enjoy. And I'm also one of those people who will enjoy and watch those sorts of things. It's just... Honestly, I do wonder how we got to this point where it's a thing. I mean, I suppose it comes from the same reason why a TV show like Gogglebox in the UK is a success. People are just really fascinated at other people's opinions on things that they enjoy. And they're, like, really obsessed by it. And I mean, I suppose there is also the whole thing of you're getting to watch or spend more time with a hobby or medium that you really like, and it sort of gives you, just more time to spend with it, I suppose. But I will say that I am really rather glad that we're not going to be in this stretch of extras forever. They're going to be quite hefty parts, because really I didn't think there was much of another way to really edit these things together. I was tempted to do a whole thing of speeding up the journeys in between all of the gummy ship battles, but equally that just felt a little bit disingenuous. Not in the sense of, appreciating your time and everything, but more in terms of portraying the more authentic, I suppose, experience of going through all of the galaxies. Because even with the best will in the world, these things are confusing, and honestly I don't know how anybody could really do a really good and clear guide to these things, especially considering in most instances, in order to do well at the gummy missions, you really need to make sure that you have a pretty good ship. And while you can probably do well-ish in some of the really early on games, you aren't necessarily going to have the best time ever in dealing with everything. So in terms of treasures, we've got 2 gummy ships left to pick up. We've got 3 blueprint shards to get. We've still got those 2 missions. I know where one of them is. One of them is quite obvious. It's the big 5-star boss that is waiting in a massive pool, well, massive blob of swirling sand, which is going to be quite fun. I think we're going to take that on towards the end, because generally my principle for these things was go for the boss at the end of the run rather than going for it in the middle, where possible, because they felt like pretty good conclusions, I suppose, to the missions and these parts, which, I mean, it makes sense. Also, will we be completing all the gummy missions? I think we will. I might not be necessarily showing all of them off. Honestly, I cannot remember. I know there's one gummy mission which is particularly time-consuming because it's just murder a ridiculous number of gummy ship Heartless, or Heartless gummy ships. Like, there are a few which just take quite a while. But I definitely know that I did get it in the end. because, you know, sheer stubbornness, it does come in handy for those sorts of things. Doesn't come in handy, you know, when you keep ramming into bits because, you know, the gummy ship won't turn exactly as you would like it to, and also won't effectively take you to where you want to be or where you expect the crystal to be. And I think the other bit that is a little bit annoying is that sometimes these do respawn. I mean, definitely the blue ones, and if you don't, well, once you've destroyed a purple one, it will come back as a blue one. So you can sort of explore around, go back to an area that you've already explored, and the crystal will have appeared, but it won't necessarily be the right colour. The purple ones do not return as purple ones, but just the fact that you can get into that slightly confused place of what the hell is going on, it can just be a little bit irritating. So I suppose as we, you know, continue, I would be really interested to see what all of your thoughts were on the gummy ship in Kingdom Hearts 3. Especially now that we're in sort of a much more prolonged gummy ship segment. Because, personally, I did really enjoy this. The fact that I did decide to stick it through to the end to get absolutely everything, I think just goes to show that I definitely enjoyed this enough to want to do that. Which is more the company's had for certain games. Certain times I go into these things and I'm just like, yeah, no, can't really be bothered to go for 100%. Generally because it's slightly too excessive. Like, when that happens, my brain just goes, no. I mean, like, I remember Lego City Undercover. Loved that game. Was tempted to do a playthrough of it at one point. Didn't in the end, purely because I just really didn't get around to it, and also I think that I probably would have had maybe a few content ID issues, but I mean, I suppose no more than Kingdom Hearts was thrown at me over the years. But also, I think because of its very open world nature, I was, I suppose, slightly daunted by it, and also the fact that there was no way in hell I was going to do an actual full walkthrough of it, because trying to complete that game would have driven me insane, because, like, I think by the time I finished it, I'd maybe collected about 15% of everything. Like, that game has so many collectibles, it is unreal. I love that that is the case, but in terms of actually kind of achieving it, it's not happening. I mean, I'm trying to think of any other games where I was just like, nah, it's not happening in terms of the... I have started, I would like to, but it's never going to happen. Like, I can't remember whether I did end up getting all of the blue coins in Sunshine. I feel like I might have done, because I wasn't going to be beaten by a Mario game, even though there are definitely 2 Mario games where I didn't beat the final challenge. Super Mario 3D World, Super Mario Galaxy 2. Yeah, those... Well, Super Mario Galaxy 2 slightly kills me, because I really wanted to get to the end of the perfect run, but I never quite managed it. Also, oh yes, it was the Astro Warrior that we didn't end up getting an A rank on, so we can definitely rectify that one quite easily, because, I mean, now that we've just got a much better ship, and we've got the 2 teeny ships at our side. Well, actually, no, we don't have any teeny ships in this ship. This ship's just powerful enough to do this by itself. But we do have the bonus special weapon as well, which helps. As you can see, so incredibly easy to get an A rank when you've got a better ship. So yeah, I think I've gone completely off track from where I had originally been. But yeah, on the whole, I would just be intrigued to see what you guys thought. Whether it was as good as or better than the gummy ship in Kingdom Hearts 2. I mean, I think we can all agree that it's definitely better than the gummy ship in Kingdom Hearts 1, because that was very much a prototype and very much the worst part of Kingdom Hearts 1. Loved the idea, but the execution was incredibly poor. I think we can all agree on that one. It's just when it comes to this versus Kingdom Hearts 2. I think I probably prefer this version slightly because it's taking the exploration part of Kingdom Hearts 1 and merging it with the frantic gummy ship battling of Kingdom Hearts 2. And just having that mixture, I think, makes this a lot more engaging. There's also at least some element of strategy, I suppose, in terms of your gummy ship selection and all of that. I think my main problem is basically entirely the map and trying to navigate and find everything that I wanted to collect. If there'd been less content, I think that that would have definitely helped the situation, because it wouldn't have been nearly as infuriating to try and find everything, because there wouldn't have been as much of it to find. But then equally, it also means I got to spend more time playing Kingdom Hearts 3, and considering, you know, I'd never really thought this game was ever going to materialise at any point, getting to spend more time with this game is definitely a good thing in my book. And at this point, I'm just trying to find that last damn purple crystal. I mean, we've got up to level 50, we've only got one mission really left to do. I just want that gosh darn purple crystal, please. And this is where I think, like, maybe an item that could have, you know, beeped when you got closer to a purple one rather than a blue one would have been nice. Just anything to make traversing all of this vast space to find things a little bit clearer, a little bit easier would have been nice. Also, is this going to be the crystal? Please let this be. No, it's not the crystal. God damn it! But I do think that it's coming soon. Definitely think it's coming soon. Largely because, you know, I can actually see the waveform on my recording. So I can very much go, yes, well, I know I'm going into a fight very shortly. I don't think I would go into that fight without finding that crystal. Although, you know, I might have equally gotten frustrated finding it. Oh, no, there it is! Hiding all the way at the bottom, the cheeky blighter. I think something that also would have helped very much in terms of the gummy ship is actually a way of descending or ascending without forward momentum. Because, like, for this one, it would have been so much easier if I could have, you know, gone above it and then just descended. Or in general, having a much better target on the damn thing. Now, before I go into this boss fight, I think I did want to, clearly wanted to save. I think because it had taken me such a long time to find all those damn things, it was very much a case of, no, just save up, don't be an idiot and go straight for the battle. Because it's probably not going to end well. Oh, it's the airship, that's what that particular gummy ship's called. I knew it was something of that ilk, but honestly, could not remember for the life of me. But yes, clearly just go straight for the massive sand vortex. And we get to face down the comet crawlers. I think that we have already taken them down, but I believe that this is a more challenging version of the comet crawlers. You can generally tell because it's bright pink. So these things, I think, have more health, and also they do more damage than their counterparts. So while you may have had a really easy time on them the first time round, if you're going into this fight, you might struggle a little bit more. And I think generally, actually, most of these 5-starers are these ultra-difficult versions of these boss fights. I have to say, I didn't have the best ship to go into this, so I think that after I have completed it, I may end up having to go back in it again in order to get that A rank, because with these sorts of things, when you beat it the first time, you get a bonus thing that you need to collect, but then you get the thing for the A rank. So in some instances you are going to see double of the same mission, but hopefully that should be few and far between. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what caused Nomura and Co. to design the super boss variants of these Heartless Gummy ships as sort of bright pink and black. It's a very cool looking colour combination. It's a little bit weird. It's not something that I would normally sort of put together for a villainous colour palette. Because obviously you are normally looking at purples and blacks, lime greens and blacks. I mean, especially if you're going the Disney route, it's basically those 3 colours. Well, actually, no, there's 4. So, evil purple, evil green, evil red, and evil black. And if you look at basically every Disney villain ever, they will fit that colour palette. It's kind of incredible that is the case, but it is a really cool thing that ties them all together. I mean, there might be the odd one, because I mean, technically Hans doesn't fit into that colour palette, but he does have red hair, so I suppose in that way he sort of does, but his whole thing is that he's, you know, not clearly a villain. You need the surprise of his villainy rather than knowing it outright. Also, I think I wasn't actually that far off the A rank. I think it was at 300,000 points. But yeah, annoyingly, once you do defeat the 5-star things, you do have to go back to the world map and come back in again in order to fight them again, which is just really annoying. And that special gummy block, I believe you do get for the A rank, so I am going to have to go in for that. But we've got a Vega, so that's nice. Because you do get some ships for defeating these bosses. So do make sure you do pop into the Gummy Missions menu every now and again, because quite helpful for making sure that you get all of those things. But right, let's pop out to the world map, hopefully. Come on, don't be a twit. There we go. Logic prevailed in the end, just about. But yeah, you know, since I ended up with a B rank, I definitely want to do better. So I did sort of decide to pop in, and then I was just like, can I not edit any of these things? And then do I use that, or what do I do? Because I did have a few test drives, I think, with taking it down with a few other ships. I mean, I tried it with the Vega, but the Vega didn't do quite what I wanted it to. So in the end, I think Okay, what are you actually doing past me? Because I think I should end up going with the bomb. Yes, definitely go with the bomb, because it's got quite a lot of health, and its offense is really good. And generally, I found that most of the fights in the gummy ship missions, higher offense does absolutely amazing work in terms of obliterating everything. So anything that can give you more damage, kills enemies quicker, therefore gets you a higher score. So yeah, the stronger the ship and the teeny ships, the better. And since we're now in a much stronger position, when we go and take on the 5-star Comet Crawlers, they should go down a lot easier. I mean, this ship looks ridiculous, but even if it is ridiculous, it's going to do absolute wonders for what I need it to. Because these things are going to go down a lot quicker. Also, because of the bits and pieces that are equipped, I can now actually see the health bars of these enemies, which really helps for figuring out exactly how you're doing at any given moment. I mean, I don't know why this wasn't on to begin with, because you basically get scan automatically in the main game anyway. So I don't know why that wasn't sort of automatically on here, but hey, some people make weird decisions sometimes. I mean, the decision to not have it as automatic thing in the original games was also a bit daft. But I suppose you take what you can get. Yes, I would very much appreciate if he'd stop running away and actually let me murder him, because it was a moment of just going, the multiplier is going down, I do not like this, I do not like this one bit. But thankfully, as you can see, score-wise, doing much better this time around. Now, okay, it's not quite 30,000, but it's definitely going to be within our grasp this time. It might be, is it 35,000 points? No, 350,000 points. Yeah, it's probably that. But as you can see, with more versatile ship, definitely does a much better job at getting you up to those high scores. If you're really having a problem with the ace, kind of like the A ranking on these things, then it might be worth waiting until you are strong enough to take on the secret gummy ship mission, which will give you the best ship in the game, because that will honestly just wreck absolutely everything and pretty much get you easy A ranks every time. But obviously you're probably going to be doing what I'm doing and sort of saving up to get to that point, building up your strength, so to speak. But there we go, that is everything that you could hope to see/witness in the Starlight way. There's a massive mumble of words there, but it's fine. We made it through all the treasures, all the constellations, I think. Just everything that you needed. All good. Time to move on to the next galaxy. Woo!